Good evening. I am Selena, the Self-Care Alchemist with Salena Essentials, which is a wellness company that helps busy professionals eliminate overwhelm using three powerful self-care tools as well as natural remedies so that they are able to reduce stress, boost their productivity, and live a life on purpose that they enjoy. I have been called to share a message today, and it is truly a message of, I'll say, living your best life. And a part of being able to live your best life is stepping outside of your comfort zone. So, being in our zone, being in experiencing that level of comfort, it at times leaves us feeling stagnant, like we're not able to really progress or be able to experience the things that we want to experience because we are comfortable. So, mindfully choosing to step outside of that comfort zone, it can bring a level of anxiety. It can induce fear. It can bring on stress because it's like it truly is the fear of unknown, but it also renders the opportunity to gain a lot of gifts. So you're gaining the gift of knowledge. You're getting valuable lessons that you can use to help you go on to experience other things. You're also able to use those lessons and those gifts to be able to share with others. Another component and a way of thinking about being outside of your comfort zone is to see it as a beautiful experience. Yeah, and being in the midst of going um being in the zone, in the uncomfortable zone, being outside of your box, it can be chaotic. And so it can really be stressful, like I said before. But the thing is, it's a beautiful sense of chaos. And I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head and it's making sense as I'm saying it. But really, today for me, I stepped outside of my comfort zone. So I'm pretty much an introverted person. I will stay in the house and just kind of chill, work on my projects. So really choosing to get out and to network and to engage in some social gatherings today. Um, Going to those places and meeting those people, for me, it was initially a sense of anxiety, a source of anxiety and overthinking, but actually going through it and meeting the people and experiencing the different things, being a part of that social gathering, it was a beautiful experience. I was sitting, so this evening, I went to a spoken word event and I had made it up in my head. I already knew that I was going to get up there and deliver a piece. And I signed up on the list and I was like the fourth or fifth person. So, I felt like I had some time to get in there and just kind of relax and get some food in me and have a drink or something and just kind of chill. But little did I know I was going to be the first person that got called. And so I was kind of nervous, but I got up there and I was just like, okay, take a deep breath, get a woo-sigh in. And I went ahead and I delivered my piece. And with that, I didn't overthink it. I just did it. I just did it anyway. And the audience was very receptive. And I did it for a few reasons. One, because I wanted to just be an example in the sense of just do it anyway. Just get out there, just put yourself forward. Don't worry about what people may think about it, just do it. And then the other thing is just, again, just being true to myself. I said that I wanted to put myself out there, and I did it. So I was really happy. And I really enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed being up there. It also made me really focus on the fact of finding my most authentic self. Because what I realized is I was just up there. I write poetry from time to time, but the people that came after me, they were very passionate about it. They were serious about it. And you could tell in their delivery and in the words and in the thoughts. It was just so beautiful just to experience it. And for me, it just made me think I am good at a number of things. There are some things that I'm mediocre at, but at the end of the day, it's up to me to just pick one thing and be very passionate about it. And there's nothing wrong with having interest in multiple things, but at this point, pick one thing and be passionate about it and scream it to the world, scream it from the mountaintops. Just do it. Just be it, do it, feel it, think it, because people will be able to relate to it. And that's where I am with things. I realize that today, not just today, but it really has been in the last few months, God has been calling me to be my most authentic self. And that is being vulnerable, even in those times when I don't want to be vulnerable, when I just want to put out this superficial version of me that I've done for the last 40 plus years. Is in this season of life, it's been calling me to move beyond that. And so that's where I am with things. And I go back to it and I really think about it. I started Salena Essentials because I have been working in corporate environments for 25 plus years. And I have worked in different industries. I have worked in different levels of management. I've managed teams. I've managed systems. At the height of my career, I found myself being on the edge. I was burnt out. I was stressed out. I was literally waking up in the morning and dreading going to work. I was depressed, and driving to work every day, I would be crying. I would get to work and I would work just nonstop. I would be in meetings every day and I would be interacting with people that I know didn't like me. A lot of times it was of because of who I was, because of my skin color, because of the way I carried myself, just a number of things. And sometimes that really bothered me. And I realized that, yeah, I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders in that instance. But just being totally stressed out and stretched thin. And then you coupled that with the fact of I was a working mom, a single mom, and I was dealing with the death of 8 loved ones in the span of 6 years, and one of those included my daughter's father. And I remember walking into the office one day. I had just worked 16 hours the day before. I worked, got up early and went into work, dropped my daughter off at school, went to work, and I got to the office. I was the first one there, putting on the pot of coffee and turning on the lights. And that day, I was the last one to leave that day before. So when I got to work, I was super tired. And I was tired. I could feel like a slight pain in my chest, but I just kind of brushed it off to the fact of I just worked these 16 hours. But as the day went on, as the morning went on, I started to become more tired, and that pain in my chest, it just got more. It became more. It became like a stabbing pain in my chest. And at the same time, it was like spreading all over my chest. And it went up through my throat. And it got to the point of where I felt like I was suffocating. And in that, I still kind of brushed it off. So I'm at this point, I'm in my office and I'm getting up and I'm attempting to stand up and I'm starting to feel dizzy and my head is spinning, it's lightheaded, and I attempt to leave my office and it's like I'm about to fall. And a coworker noticed what was going on with me, and that coworker grabbed my purse, grabbed my keys, and she rushed me to the emergency room. And I'm in that car and I'm feeling that pain in my chest, and it was feeling like I was having a heart attack. And my life was flashing before my eyes, and the only thing I could think about was my baby that was at school. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't want to leave this earth. I'm the only parent that she has. And I get to the hospital and I'm feeling like I'm having a heart attack, and the doctors and the nurses are just going by and they ask me to fill out paperwork, and I'm like, yo, I'm dying. What are you doing? 30 minutes, an hour and a half passed, and finally I was seen. And so they took my blood, they took my blood pressure, they took me to a different room where I had x-rays done. And after probably about 30 minutes of waiting and panicking because I am there alone by myself in this hospital. And the nurse comes into the room. She's like, the doctor will be in a minute. That doctor comes into the room and he says, you have walking pneumonia. And I'm looking, I'm like, what is that? I've not ever heard of it. And he pretty much said, hey, I'm going to give you this Z-Pack, which I didn't know what that was. It turned out, if I just have to simplify it, it's a bunch of vitamins. It's like a super pack of vitamins that helps get your system back on track. And I later learned that that the walking pneumonia was because my immune system was weakened. What weakened it? The stress that I was enduring every day, the grief that I was experiencing, the long hours, the eating on the go, the leading a sedentary life, all of that played a role in it. And here I am, the only parent that was alive to my child. And I had put so much of my energy and my time and my efforts into everyone and everything else, especially the job. And in that moment, the reality hit me that I needed to make some changes. And so I was happy that I had some friends and some family around me that was very supportive, and they helped me as I recovered. And it was some time. I took that Z-Pack, but it was time. I just couldn't get back up the next day and work and do the things that I had done. It really was a slow process in terms of being able to breathe normally and to have that energy and that focus. And what I did in my downtime, I was watching a whole lot of YouTube videos to find out what was going on. And that turned into purchasing books because I needed to have gain better knowledge about my body and the immune system and the contributing factors like the stress, and getting the books that turned into starting to take courses and attend retreats. And then just so happened one day I ran across a YouTube video that talked about herbalism and a popular herbalist. And so that made me look up what herbalism was. And I looked to see in the white pages if I could find an herbalist that was in my area. And I found one that was probably about, his office was about 10 minutes from where I worked. And so I reached out to that herbalist, and talking to him on the phone, just hearing his passion and hearing about his story, I ordered some products and I went and picked them up that same day. And when I got to his office, we wound up having like a 3 hour conversation. It was like I had known him from a long time ago. But it was his passion. It was his knowledge. It was just his experiences that he shared, and just it connected with me. And so he shared about the products that I had purchased and the things that I could expect to experience. And he said, "Hey, if you needed me, reach out to me." And he later became my friend. He became someone that I looked up to, and I learned a lot from him. I would vent to him in terms of my experiences at work, and he would always encourage me to take a natural route, consider herbalism as a way to make money. And it kind of went in one ear and out the other, because hey, I have degrees. I have multiple degrees, and I have decades of experience, and I didn't want to throw that all out the window. Little did I know that I would, after several years, go into an aspect of herbalism, which is where we are today. And I know it's a long-winded story, but at the end of the day, my point and where I'm getting at is I realized that for me, that level of authenticity, that one thing that I am committed to, that I am most passionate about, it really is helping, empowering people so that they don't have to go through what I went through in experiencing that level of stress, anxiety, depression, burnout, not having the energy to get up in the morning, not having the time to spend with your family. That's what I'm passionate about. I learned the importance of setting boundaries. And in setting boundaries, that means that you have a cup that is full. It's not empty because you haven't given it away to everyone else. It's full because you have allocated what portion of that cup you want to give to others. And you save plenty for yourself. So setting boundaries and being able to manage my time, utilizing tools to manage my time, knowing when to say no, and actually taking the time for myself, not feeling guilty for taking time for myself, whether it's going to the gym and exercising, or it's going for a walk, or it's sitting here laying in this bed and relaxing. It's a matter of not feeling guilty and doing those things. So where am I at with my level of authenticity? I will be really honest. All the days of my life, and I am 50 years old, I was raised to keep my business to myself. What happens here in this house stays in this house, and you don't share. And it's been a challenge for me to be my most authentic self, because I have been my most superficial self for as long as I've been on this earth. And it's been a challenge, but what I see is that when I'm being my most authentic self on purpose, it is for a purpose, it's for a reason, and it's sharing with others. Just something as simple as experience that I went through with this gray hair, because this is new. But in sharing about my experience as it relates to my gray hair, I was able to share knowledge And it was a beautiful experience. I took for granted that some of the things that I know that people know, and it's amazing. The simplest things that I know, I'm able to bless someone with that knowledge, and they're able to utilize it in their life, and they're able to share it with others. Wow, that's amazing. So I get back to, in this season, we are being called to step outside of our comfort zone. And stepping outside of our comfort zone, that is where that level of authenticity lies for real. I'm challenging you, and as I talk to you, I'm challenging myself to stay outside of your comfort zone and do what God is calling you to do. It really feels, and there is a knowing that to choose to, and to selfishly choose to not be outside of your comfort zone and not do what God is calling you to do. It's a selfish act, and it's going against the reason why we're here. And I want to put this disclaimer out there. I am not a religious person. I am very much spiritual. And this is spirituality in the making, in the sense of I was definitely raised under the Christian belief, and it's just kind of evolved. But at the same time, I'm not on here to preach, and you do what works best for you in every area of your life. But I just have to say, when you are being called, you got to answer, because you will be convicted until you answer. I know from experience, in so many different ways, being convicted until you do what God is calling you to do. So step outside of your comfort zone. There's so many it's a beautiful experience, even in the midst of the chaos. And the chaos is that fear, the fear of not knowing, but still doing, still walking in that darkness because it's calling you to go towards the light. And you going towards that light because you have that light within you and you're shining it bright. Whew, thank you. If you're seeing this message, it's because you're supposed to see it. I'm sharing this message because I'm supposed to share it. It's not scripted. It is what it is, and we are where we are supposed to be.